But you see how much kidnappers are taking from victims.
My thing is, government should at the all stakeholders get that, and I think we get that. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
But the support that is needed, and once you get the support, your airline will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning once again. It's Inside Nigeria on this Monday morning, October 25, 2021. And of course, as usual, I'm not alone. I'm with my regular co-anchor, Winifred Obebo. Good morning, Winifred.
Good morning, buddy, and good morning, our viewers. This is another day and for the beginning of this week, too.
Exactly, the first edition of the week.
Yes, and it's our pleasure to be here today to co-host the Inside Nigeria, a breakfast show. Welcome once again.
Yeah, and of course, as our viewers can see, we have a big catch today.
Yes.
Our guest analyst for this morning newspaper review segment is Dr. Osim Maro. Dr. Osim Maro is an Abuja-based journalist and publisher, Daybreak newspaper. Good morning, Dr. Austin.
Yeah, good morning,
Good
Winifred Gadibo.
Yes.
It's great to be here.
It's our honor you are also coming. It's our
Yes.
pleasure. Well, viewers, as usual, we're starting the review with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, The Leadership. On the front page of Leadership this morning, 73% debt servicing puts Nigeria's economy on edge. 73% debt servicing puts Nigeria's economy on edge. $299 million paid for external debt in Q2 2021. 2022 budget implementation under threat, according to experts. Dr. Mao, I know you're not an economist, but you have a general knowledge of the economy. So 73% debt servicing is not sustainable.
It's
Is that
crazy.
true?
It's crazy. It's not something anybody you should scratch your head and think about. Is even if you are not an economist, once you see that number, it's frightening. You begin to ask yourself, if Nigeria as a country you spend as much as 73% on debt servicing, then what is left for us as a country to use in developing, to inject into other sectors of the economy? It means it's virtually nothing. Mind you, this figure that you are seeing here was released by the federal government itself through the Debt Management Office. Some people even believe that what we are expending on debt servicing is even more than this. That is the dilemma. So people believe, because if you look at the economy of Nigeria as a whole, when a whopping 73% of your revenue is spent, you are looking at revenue as against the budget and budget projection. When you spend about 73% of your revenue on debt, it means the nation is in crisis. It means at this point in time, the federal government should put on its thinking cap and begin to look at how to get us out of this. This is pure quagmire. And if nobody is paying attention, the government needs to pay attention. If you even look at the budget estimate that the federal government released, that President Buhari himself presented before the National Assembly just a few weeks ago, it shows that the economy of this country is in an uncertain. The future is uncertain. It's bleak. Because when you look at the revenue projection and how much is devoted to debt servicing and equally the to deficit financing, it shows that in terms of the economy, we are nowhere. We need to do more. And people have raised issues. When you look at the economic issue, for instance, to say that the government itself is not doing enough in order to put the issue of the economy in the front burner, because it dovetails into everything in terms of the security situation in the country, the cost of doing business. You're a woman, you know what it costs you to shop in the market these days. Like yesterday, I went to the market to buy, a crate of malt for my student, at least for this week that they are going to school. My wife always do it anyway, but I just said, let me do it myself since I was what I paid for a crate of malt was almost 5,000. That's something I used to buy for 250 naira. or
Your 2,200.
yeah, yes,
And now I'm
it has doubled. So the government cannot afford to live in denial. We are facing their economic crisis, and government need to put its thinking cap and get out of it. All hands must be on deck, politics aside, to deal with this problem. 3% is a very worrisome figure.
Yes, Doctor, too. We also more worrisome is the fact that the NAS, National Assembly, during President Muhammadu Buhari's budget presentation, and even the finance minister insisted that they still have to borrow to finance the budget. So, what is your take on that? There's no end in sight for this borrowing.
That is why I said the government needs to, at this junction, put on its thinking cap. Has it ever occurred to you as a general that even today, Buhari doesn't have a chief economic advisor? If he doesn't have a chief economic advisor who advises him on economic matters,
there's an economic
it means yes, it doesn't. You just have an economic council headed by the vice president. That's all. It means they are not yet paying attention, giving the economic issue the priority it deserves. That's the point I'm trying to say. You understand? It means government only thinks at this stage, all government is thinking about is that to solve our economic problem or to generate funds to finance the budget, the only resort is to borrowing. But a lot of economists will tell you that, look, in putting on your thinking cap, it means you need to look into other avenues of generating funds for the government. Like people will tell you that Nigeria, although some people will say we are overtaxed, Nigeria in terms of GDP, population, and tax revenue from generation of tax revenue is one of the lowest in the world. And even within the West African sub-region, it's one of the lowest in the world. How many rich people pay tax in Nigeria? We are in Abuja here. We see empty houses everywhere. How many people pay property taxes? So these are quiet areas. These are salient areas that the government need to refocus its agenda in trying to bring more people into the tax net. And of course, there are other revenue generating sources across the country that government can explore. It's not all about crude oil and petroleum. When this government came into power, one of its campaign promises was diversification of the economy. How much? The question should be asked. How much diversification have we seen in the last 60 years since this administration came into power? Nothing. All we are still talking about is oil. And when there's a shortfall in oil revenue, you resort to borrowing. These are the problems.
And meanwhile, again, there were calls that some of assets, moribund assets, like the refinery, should be sold to finance. But nothing has been heard from government quarters. Why do you think it's so? Why is the federal government, successive governments, holding on to these refineries that are not still working, that are moribund?
It's an irony, isn't it? And it's worrisome. You understand? Because you need to equally look at the fact that a lot of those in the know, since I became of age and became a practicing journalist for the past 25 years, the issue of those refineries have always been a problem. Obasanjo, at the tail end of his administration, sold the refineries to Dangote. Then Yaradua, in his own wisdom, returned Dangote's money. Reversing the say, returned Dangote's money and said they should come back to the federal government. And the federal government, as of today, Dangote, out of frustration, went to build his own refinery. And the federal government, as of today, is buying 20% shares from Dangote's refinery. In other words, there's a disconnect somewhere. You can't manage your own. You don't want to sell it, but you are investing in somebody who wanted to buy off your own and, reactivate them. So the quantum of money, as people will tell you, that have been spent so far in turnaround maintenance in the last 20 years is humongous and can build those from scratch, build new refineries for the country. It has become a major drain pipe on federal government resources. You keep staff there. Like last year, I read somewhere that governments paid about 65 billion on overhead. That's staff salaries, other things, for workers of the Kaduna refineries. And that's a place that you didn't refine 1 liter of petroleum products. So why keep them there? Why do government insist on even recently like we've been hearing over the years, the Minister of Petroleum insisted that they want to reactivate this refinery. Is good for it, and they want to borrow whether about $1 billion with the attempt, to bring back this. We've been hearing all this talk for years, and nothing happens. So the refineries have remained a dream pipe on the federal government, and the best thing to do is to sell them off at scrap. But we know that there are a lot of political interest when it comes to turnaround maintenance, keeping the refineries in the hands of government, and people don't want to let go of. So these are the issues. It's just political interest, and government at this stage should put its foot on the ground and take the right decision in the interest of Nigeria.
In the interest of Nigeria, yes, that is very, very important. We need to move away from leadership to our sister publication, the National Economy.
Yes, National Economy today says why foreign investors are shunning Nigeria's economy. Why foreign investors are shunning Nigeria's economy. That is National Economy today.
Well, Dr. Mahon, this is a headline with a suspense. We want our readers to actually go through that story and find out why foreign investors are shunning Nigeria's economy, which means Nigerian foreign direct investment is
shrinking.
Low. Yes. But let's discuss. In the story, we mentioned insecurity, high cost of trade in Nigeria, and the rest of them. I don't know if you agree with the decision of the National Economy.
Of course. It's a no-brainer. Of course, it's a no-brainer. Why foreign investors are shunning Nigeria's economy is a good headline, and is an attempt to refocus. Like we say in the media, we try to set the agenda for national discourse, and this is what should worry everybody as an agenda. You put it out there, let people see what are the reasons. It's not only foreign investors, as far as I'm concerned, that are shunning the Nigerian economy. Even domestic investors. You and I, who have money, will you invest your money the way the Nigerian economy is now, or the policies of government? How do they even encourage the domestic investors, not to talk of foreign investors? They are overtaxed almost to the point of tax to the point of killing them and killing the business totally. And what are these taxes we are talking about? Not just local government, state or federal government taxes. If you set up a business, like when we came into this studio, the light went off. You have to go and put on your generator. And we know that the cost of buying diesel is about 320 naira per liter. How do you sustain your business with such high cost of diesel? You have to provide your own security. If you're unlucky, you stay in a place where there's no road, you have to do the road. You have to take care of the local community before you pay taxes. So many indirect taxes in the system, storages. I'm not talking about domestic investors. Then last week we were looking at I was in a program where we were looking at the situation of our ports, Nigeria Ports Authority. What's happening in the ports? What is the ease of bringing goods into the country? And if you are an exporter of exporting goods into the country,
and trade facilitation.
Yes. And of course, we know ports is a place where trade ought to be facilitated. It's a place, but our own port will turn into a revenue generating agency, which is not supposed to be. It's supposed to aid business. Aid business in the sense that if I'm a businessman, you provide me the right support to be able to do my business within the port area. But import anything into this country, and you regret doing so. Because to begin with, there are no roads, insecurity. All government agencies,
infrastructure
is not there. All government agencies that you know, whether they have anything to do with the ports or not, they all want to be in the port, to be collecting one revenue or the other. Is the wood boils down again to the issue of corruption in the system.
Now, Dr. Maho, let's mention one last thing, also cited by the national economy, which is a policy inconsistency. You talk about multiple taxation, then at the same time, you have what we call the ease of doing business. Even an executive order was signed by the president to that effect. Yes. So talking about ease of doing business on one hand and multiple taxation on the other hand. Inconsistency. Inconsistency.
We used to talk about, as a young journalist, I was once the editor of Business Times, the Daily Times publication.
Yes.
As at that time, during the Obasanjo regime, he set up this Nigerian Investment Promotion Council.
Exactly.
And we did a lot of interview with the chief executive then, about 2 in the line. And one thing they were saying then consistently was this idea of trying to create a one-stop shop, whereby if you're a foreign investor, you come into the country, You just come to one desk and they facilitate your business through registration, all the permits you need, whether to bring in expatriate material and everything. They do it. You don't have to be going from one agency to the other. Then we could see concrete action. Why I'm bringing this up is because then you could see concrete action on the part of government to ease businesses, to ease the processes of carrying out businesses in the country. But now we don't see anything like that again. So certainly there is some level of inconsistency, and it tells from when you look at the economic climate in the country. It tells, we can tell. If you want to set up a business today, even as let me call myself a domestic investor. Even if I want to set up a business today, with the much that I know, I don't know where to go
to start with.
To start with.
All right, Dr. Mao, thank you very much. So far, we need to go on a short break. Yes. When we come back, we'll be looking at the front page of Daybreak newspaper, a newspaper debuting on our show this morning. We'll be back shortly.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. It's still Inside Nigeria, Monday morning, October 25, 2021. Of course, we still have with us Dr. Austin Maho, publisher, Daybreak newspaper, as our guest for this Monday morning on Inside Nigeria. Next newspaper on our menu this morning is the Daybreak newspaper, a newspaper published by Dr. Maho himself. Your paper.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, on the front page of Daybreak this morning, Buhari to float CBN's e-Naira today. Buhari to float Central Bank of Nigeria's e-Naira today. 10% of Naira in circulation to be converted to e-Naira. Naira now among first central bank digital currency in the world. That is one feat we are achieving. A kudos. I mean, we can give ourselves some parts of the
we are being among the first in the world to
floating the digital currency.
Yeah, to implement the digital currency framework. I think is a welcome development, and our publication Daybreak decided to focus on this story because we felt, among all the stories that broke over the weekend, this is one story that, in terms of impact and significance, is what should equally dominate conversation, throughout this week, because it's novel, it's new. Many people don't know about it. Many people have a lot of misconception about the e-Naira. People see it as an investment platform, but CBN has come out plainly to say, look, the concept of the e-Naira is not an investment platform. Don't get it wrong. Don't allow people to swindle you in terms of say, okay, it's e-naira, maybe it's digital currency. They may mistake it for other digital currency like Bitcoin, and others, which are investment platforms. So the e-naira, the concept of the e-naira is more like is working hand in hand with existing hard currency. So it's just an extension. It's a way of promoting digital exchanges, digital financial exchanges among Nigerians. Because the way it works is you go to your bank, you open an electronic wallet or what you call e-wallet, and you can ask for a certain amount, maybe from your account, to be deposited into your e-wallet, which you spend on a daily basis. Nigerians need to understand it. And like CBN rightly said, about 10%, which is a humongous amount of money, of the total cash in circulation,
the mop,
expectedly should be a digital currency, and it has a lot of advantages. One, as you know, as a country, we've been talking about e-currency. What do you call it? Electronic transaction of money. There's an attempt. There's a deliberate policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria to ensure that all transaction is done electronically.
We also learned that we deepen financial inclusion,
and the need for people to be carrying physical currency all over the place, which is not safe. It reduces that. So, but unfortunately, there are questions have been raised. These promises have been made in the past, which as journalists I feel we should need to interrogate. Where you have situations where bandits transacting online. I think your paper did the story about 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
Where bandits
mom is the word from the police. Even the banking system, nobody is saying anything. So it's like they are complicit.
Yes, they are complicit. Yes. People, you are kidnapped and money is paid into a bank account, and you go to the bank and you say, okay, track where this you can always follow the trail if it's electronic, and nothing happens. So these are equally issues that we should interrogate going forward. How well has what we did before in terms of transiting from physical cash to digital currency, digital inclusion, how well has it worked before? And when now compared to now, what should we expect? Actual thing. It's just not just coming up with policy, celebrating the fact that you are among the first in the world to come up with this policy and all, and that's where
beyond that.
We need to see how it actually benefits. Those are the questions.
My concern also the rural people. How do they, benefit from something like this? Even the conventional banking, they are not benefiting. No. We remain, we have a larger part of the population that are unbanked population. Exactly. Well, the CBN will look into this and do the right thing. In fact, we need to go back and check something we left behind. Yes, our General Interest and Fashion magazine came out on Sunday. It was a free package for buyers of Sunday edition of Leadership. And we need to display that on the screen for people to still see. So in case your vendor brought Leadership Sunday to you without this insight, please ask him, call him back to ask him, where is my free copy of Leadership Level, the General Interest and Fashion magazine. On the front page today, it's about the influencers. Who are they? Find out. Grab a copy, find out. I'm a man of fashion too.
Of course, everybody is a man of fashion, and it's good. I noticed that Leadership, went on a long break from the publication of Leadership.
Yes, so it was rested for a long time. We revived it a few weeks ago.
It's back because there's an audience. When there's an audience, you must cater for that audience. The newspaper is not only doing hard stories. You should equally give the opportunity for your teaming readers and followers on and offline to be able to, have an avenue to know what's happening in the fashion world, the Nollywood of this world, the international fashion scene and all that. As a way of relaxing. As a way of relaxing.
Or you need to know about wristwatch shoes.
On a weekend when you have all the time.
You relax to read it. Yeah.
After going through the hard stories of the week, it's an opportunity to let's look at other things.
Exactly. So
normally in the media we call them breathers.
Exactly, breathers. Yes. If you miss the Sunday edition of Leadership, you can still call back your vendor to reserve a copy for you and bring it back for you. Inside the Leadership edition of Sunday, you have a free copy of the Vogue magazine, the Leadership General Interest and Fashion magazine.
It's all glossy.
Exactly.
And it's for people with style. Just get a copy.
Dr. Mao said everybody is a person of style, and I believe that.
Yeah.
It just depends on level and measure. We need to move away from that to the next newspaper. Winifred, what do we have?
Yes, we have Punch newspaper.
All right.
On Punch newspaper today said, SIM/NIN linkage. Subscribers push for 2-month extension. Deadline expires Sunday. Subscribers push for 2-month extension. Deadline expires Sunday. Subscriber group says registration centers extremely crowded. Fresh extension likely after NIMC/NCC review, telecom firms. That is on Punch newspaper today, October 25th, 2021.
Yeah, Dr. Mahu, I don't know why we are not getting this right at least once. It has been on for a long time, and the deadline keeps shifting. The deadline maybe people are not properly enlightened on the need for same-name synchronization or linkage. But then, even for the one we have done, I don't think we've been reaping the benefit because bandits are still using registered phone numbers to make demand for ransom.
Yes.
We cannot arrest them.
That's where we are.
So what are we talking about here?
Bandits. That is just like the same way I mentioned earlier, that bandits are still using your banking system.
Yes.
To take money.
To collect ransom. Bandits are using SIM card to register phone. I want to assume that there's no phone, no SIM card in circulation today. Let's forget about SIM-NIN linkage. There's no SIM card in Nigeria today that is not registered to an individual.
Yes, it's true.
So when any SIM card is used to make a call, and that number is flagged down, the authorities should be able to track and know the owner of that phone number. But a situation whereby the technology you are deployed already, you are not using it to the maximum. You now said, okay, not until you link it to me, you can't reap maximum benefit from it.
Yes, and don't forget, Doctor, too, that these banks too, they also have BVN. There's no bank operating.
So you are harvesting so much biometric data from Nigerians. The question is, what are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? So it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation. Although normally we wouldn't expect that it would be an easy job, where for about over 100 million Nigerians that uses mobile phone. You know, it was never going to be an easy job, but we expected that if the government, together with the telecom companies, were able to roll out enough infrastructure to be able to take care of this project, they could have done it within 6 months. It's about a year running now, and I know they've extended the deadline about 3 or 4 times.
Exactly.
And you can't disenfranchise people from using their mobile phone, or because they've not linked it to their NIN. And even the NIN itself, how many points do you have in the country where you can go and get an NIN number? So there are issues. The issue has to do with, are the facilities there to enable people seamlessly do this thing? Like you are talking about subscribe groups saying registration center extremely crowded. It's not as if people don't want to do it. If, for instance, I go to a registration center and I meet about 1,000 people there, and I know that if I stay on that queue for the whole day, it may not even get to my turn. I'm frustrated. I may just say, okay, let me wait till next week. I go on waiting until the deadline expires, and the agitation starts for extension of the deadline. So the point is, there are not enough outlets for this registration, to take place. So that means government need to address it, or the alternative, make it open. Because we are talking about those who already have SIM cards. What about those acquiring new one? What about, because if you close it, people are still going to be acquiring SIM card. Does that mean that when they acquire SIM card, or are they not still going to seek for such SIM card to be registered? Where do they go to? You understand what I'm trying to say? So the point is that just leave it open. I buy a new SIM card today, I should know where to go to process it together with my NIN.
We hope the National Identity Management, NIMC, is listening, and it should do the right thing in the interest of the nation. Well, Winifred, what we have last on our name, okay, it's this day. We have this day, and of course, on the front page of this day this morning, FARC meeting deadlocked as state local government protests $418 million Paris Club reform deductions. FARC meeting deadlocked as state local government protests $418 million Paris reform deductions. Governors insist pending cases must be first decided. Dr. Maho, there was a meeting of FARC
on Friday, 22nd,
and it was
last week.
deadlocked because the governors or some of the stakeholders, yes, governors and local government chairman learned that 418 million naira, that big money, has been paid to some consultants.
To be paid.
To be paid, decided, okay. And they are saying, don't do that. We have pending litigations. This money is too big as a consultancy.
It's just maybe you can optics. You can look at it because it's in dollar. You can say it's more money. It's 400.
Is this more money?
$480 million.
What we are saying, the point I'm trying to make there is that if you convert that
to naira,
okay, you know what it is. You come to about.
We should be talking about billions.
Yeah, it's almost about 300 billion. Oh my God. Yeah, that's it. That money made it between 250 to 300 billion naira. The point is this: somebody negotiated in the name of being a consultant yes, in the name of being a consultant, either to the it's like a broker between the federal government, the Paris Club, a group of creditors, and state government to say, okay, we did this for you, and at the end of the day, you are going to pay us so and so commission to do it. You get what I'm trying to say? Yes. And that money came to that. It's worrisome. When we know this system very well, and I'm sure having been in the media for a very long time, you understand what I'm talking about. You begin to ask yourself, what are government agencies set up to do? Exactly. When a government agency that is fully functional, that have all the information in the world, which information will a consultant have that a government agency doesn't have? DMO, Federal Ministry of Finance, and all associated agencies, the Central Bank of Nigeria. Which information will a consultant get to be able to facilitate these reforms that government agency didn't have? So ab initio, you can tell that why a lot of people are kicking against it is because, let me use local parlance, they smell a rat. Yes. They smell a rat, a very big rat for that matter. And they have gone to court to challenge the propriety, the propriety of paying as much as 480 million. In the name of consultancy fees.
And don't forget that the Paris Club had already also paid, I think they deducted and paid the litigation from their own side. So the governors are insisting, then why pay again? That means you are paying double again.
That's why some people have become so rich, so wealthy that they are changing wives and marrying young wives everywhere.
One strange thing again, Dr.
Because they have so much money.
One strange thing again, Dr. Mao, is that the nation #1 law officer, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Awaka Malami, SAN, is at the forefront of getting this money paid to private people.
The question is why. At times in a program like this, you don't want to seem as if you are attacking people. You have to choose your language carefully, and you understand. But if given the leeway to exercise my freedom of speech, as this issue is concerned, I'm sure you hear more terrible things from me than this. And of course, we know those that are involved in these shenanigans. So as it is, let's just leave it there. This is when you see such figure, you can smell a rat. Like I said, a very big rat. It's not clean. We know the person involved. It's just an attempt, to defraud the federal government of this amount of money. And the personality involved are within and outside the government, and we know all of them. We know their history. This is not clean, and I equally believe, since the matter is already in court, why are they even insisting that the money be paid immediately? The governors themselves, in their own wisdom, have appealed the judgment. So let's allow the court process to run through, and let's see the final outcome before we can know whether the right thing has been done.
All right, Dr. Mao. On that note, we are leaving it here. We are leaving the discussion here. On that note, we come to the end of the newspaper review for today and Inside Nigerian show as well. Many thanks to Dr. Austin Maho, publisher Daybreak newspaper, for finding out time to join us on Inside Nigeria this morning. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. I've enjoyed myself. Thank you so much.
We hope to see more of you here, sir.
Definitely. You invite me out. I assure you I'll be here.
Thank you so much. Winifred, it's time to go.
Okay, it's time to go so soon. Yeah.
Make it time with us tomorrow, viewers, for another edition of Inside Nigeria. My name is Body Gadibo. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.